here's Manjaro Linux KDE flavored distro review. I've been using this as my primary driver as far as in production stuff for about a week, give or take. And overall, my impression has been actually really good, considering all the stuff that surrounds most Arch-based distros. Now, before the Arch users kill me, yes, I know there are differences between Arch Linux and Manjaro. I'm not here to argue the minutia. I'm just here to tell what it's based on. My experience with it has been really good, surprisingly. I've always preferred to be really up to date, rolling release distros have always been more interesting to me. Kind of why I usually stay on if I'm on Debian distros or base distros, I prefer to be on the testing branch as opposed to, or the unstable branch. So that's kind of where I float with Debian distros. RPM distros, hit or miss as far as my love for them. But let's talk about this as a production tool. KDE 5, great. Manjaro, as far as the default settings, I like some of the stuff and I don't like some of the stuff. Some of the icons and stuff just kind of seem a little off. So I have customized this by quite a bit now to get more of my flavor to it. One thing I do like on the new version of KDE, the system settings. Now, I will state the following. I've only used KDE 5 on this system, so I do not know if this is a Manjaro version of how they are doing this, or this is a KDE 5 thing. All your stuff is within this one window for all your system settings. You can find your hardware, your kernels, your desktop behavior settings. You can pretty much change everything within this right here, which is great because in KDE 4 it was a nightmare trying to find settings half the time. The search, oh my god, is so freaking fast. Want to change icons? There you go. You can even change your emoticons if you want. Example, I have Shotcut on here, and there's almost zero lag on the search, which anyone who's used GNOME, Unity, or Cinnamon knows that when they're searching, it is slow. Like, it is not nearly as fast as it should be. And that is commendable to KDE, Manjaro. I much appreciate that fluidity in search. If I'm actually searching for things by actually typing crap in, and there's no lag. I'm looking mostly at Unity and 7, which I'm hoping gets fixed in Unity 8, but Canonical's history with that, I highly fucking doubt it. One of the other things that I like is that this makes Arch approachable to most new end users. There's a caveat to that. There's a tool called Octopi. Best way to describe Octopi is, think Synaptic. Just the way it's done up is a little bit different. Let's update this. And obviously when you update, you're going to be asked for your root or pseudo password, whatever you want to call it. All my databases now are in sync. So say I wanted a particular tool. In theory, I'm not going to actually add this, but you just right click on it and tell it to install. Really dead nut simple. And 99% of the applications that are installed are always through this. You will never see the CLI. This is where the caveat is as far as new user approach. Say I use a email calling called N1. There's a version of N1 available, but it's using the York tool, which you have to click the little alien, and no, I don't mean the RPM to deb converter. That brings up the York command. And this is great for searching AUR repositories And as you can tell, there's a N1. Again, you would install it. I already have it installed. Problem is, when you do the AURs, it brings up the CLI. That to me is a little contrived. If you're aiming for new users or new end users or approachable system for a new user, CLI is workable, but most people are going to be like, whoa, what the hell is this? If you're a new user. I've been using Linux for 15 years. This doesn't bother me in the least. It's just kind of a throw from the UI consistency for the most part. This is serviceable as a tool. This works well for what it does. To me, a lot of this is just wasted space. A lot of wasted space from a UI design point. I hate seeing that kind of wasted space. For me, something like Nuon or something like the Deep in Software Center would be a lot better as far as aesthetics are concerned. Now, functionality, you can argue there. But as far as like, if you're aiming new user, this isn't the greatest tool in the world if you're looking outside of the general repositories that Manjaro provides, which is right here. So that is kind of my take on Manjaro as more or less a whole. As a production environment machine that I used as a tool, it worked perfectly fine. It's fast, it's fluid, the search works well, the system settings are cohesive and to the point. I'm not searching 15 different areas to actually look for that. One of the other nice things is that you can actually manage your kernels from the system settings. Now, I don't remember if I actually updated to a new kernel or not. But as you can tell, this allows you to go through all your kernel updates. I mean, you can do RCs if you want to be really bleeding edge. And that to me is awesome. Podcast editing, audio editing works perfectly fine. Video editing works perfectly fine. LibreOffice is installed by default. I have been able to do the things that I need to in LibreOffice. Personally, for me, I've gotten more into proprietary software. God forbid, I know I'm using Linux. Kingsoft Office. That's more because it's a compatibility thing. LibreOffice has gotten really good about that, but there are some things that Kingsoft just does better in my use case. So as an overall system, though, KDE and Manjaro is a happy medium for beginning users that are looking to shift into intermediary users and get more bleeding edge software. I have not had any system breaks. KDE functions perfectly fine for me. I feel that it's a good upgrade from 4 to 5. There's a lot of improvements. Some would argue, and some have experienced different issues with it. I haven't had those issues. The NVIDIA drivers, because the system is running on NVIDIA Quadro, are installed with the distro in it itself, which is awesome, and I love, and I want to see more of that. I don't have to go on for them. Or I don't get some outdated, driver from whatever version of Debian or Ubuntu decides to ship with. That is, to me, great. So takeaway, pros, rolling release distro, so you're always up to date. Newest software features and functions can be right there. You get a lot of the perks of Arch with the AURs and the bleeding edge stuff. KDE 5 is a great improvement to me. Centralized system settings, being able to manage your kernels is a great idea. I don't know how many times I've booted up and saw like 15 kernels in a Ubuntu install for Grub that people haven't removed. It is just a lot cleaner in functionality. There are some areas that they could be better at, though, and one of those is software installation from AURs. I like the integration of AURs into the actual search for programs and repositories Much better than adding PPAs and all that contrived bullshit that you go through with Ubuntu or Debian-based distros and RPM-based distros. But there are still some things it could improve upon there. Integration without trying to go to the CLI. Well, again, some aesthetic design stuff, hence the reason I've customized as much as I have. But again, this is more of an intermediary or beginning users shifting into an intermediary user distro to me. This makes Arch approachable, and will probably, those that want to end up tinkering, go into Arch. And that really, our best way to describe it, a gateway to Arch. And that is really cool because it shows you the benefits without necessarily having to build the system from scratch. Good jumping off point to start with Arch, or Arch-based distros. So that's my take on it. Pros, cons, figure out where you fall, what kind of Linux user are you, and that's really where it ends and where it begins. You guys know what to do. Why do I need to tell it to you? So rate it, subscribe. Peace.